just get this thing started with, and let's just get this over with. One thing I shall mention is that Moonwalking with Einstein by Joshua FOER is an awesome book that has lots and lots of plot twists in it. And one thing I shall mention about this book, Moonwalking with Einstein, is that Joshua FOER did a pretty good job in explaining everything. So I'll be covering a lot of crazy, and you might even say boring, because they're like, hey, it's not American, it's probably boring. But then again, non-American things like Mojang is awesome too. So I have lots of contradictions to that. Let's just get this thing going with Moonwalking of Einstein by Joshua FOER. Let's get this started with. Okay, so let's start with the plot. The plot is basically this. Moonwalking with Einstein by Joshua FOER. There's this guy, the main character, who is also the author, Joshua FOER, embarks on a journey to do lots of great things. And by that, I actually mean great things. One thing I shall mention more is that Joshua FOER uses this book to explain his memory things and his memory tips and tricks and how he learned them. And how he became the winner of the USA Memory Championships. And this guy named Joshua FOER, who was researching to write an article about the USA Memory Championships, Joshua FOER was actually kind of intrigued by all this. And he was equally dubious and intrigued that one person's claim that says that like an average memory like FOER's can actually win the competition. So after a year of training with a European who is one of the greatest memory people in the world, and was part of like a group called the KL7. There's this kind of test where you have to like memorize 49 random digits, and then you have, while you're drinking like a lot of rum, and also you have to like kiss some cheeks and some women, and that's kinda a bit weird out. And somehow Joshua FOER was able to do all that. I'm not sure why he would have been able to do that. Also, I have no idea why he would want to get in there. But then again, trying to memorize something while drinking three cups of rum, that's kind of impressive, don't you think? Rum usually winds up your memory, and if you somehow still memorize 49 random digits, that's still... That is something that I was pretty dumbfounded with. Sometimes I wonder if Joshua FOER is actually a fake person, and then I watched a TED Talk from 2012 where he talked about his experiences. You can go check that out on the TED Talk website, or just search it up on like YouTube. And he used the European techniques to do all this memorizing. And one more last thing I shall mention here. Now, let's start talking about the cover and the title. This is the original cover, and this is obviously the title. Now, let's start by explaining the cover. Now, the cover is actually one of his, what he calls as his memory techniques, memory palaces, where he puts little objects that are so crazy and memories that he has that will actually memorize, that he'll actually memorize. Now, this is just one of the memory palaces. And now for the title. Now, you all know Einstein. You might think, hey, he has a big brain, so he must have a great memory. Turns out he doesn't have one. Actually, he has one of the worst memories ever. And I have no idea how he was able to get E equals MC squared with a very terrible memory. So it's like, you try to moonwalk with Einstein without a map, eventually you're gonna get lost. And he's like, oh no, I don't remember anything. What are we gonna do? I'm bad memorizer. And then, well, eventually you might say that you memorize everything and put them into your own little palace. And that is exactly how you retrace your steps back to your rocket, to your dog/cats. And that's how you get on to the world, and you get back to the world, and that's pretty awesome, don't you think? Joshua FOER did a pretty neat job for this, and I will have to admit, this memory palace thing, it's nice. And now that's also the title explained, where he's trying to moonwalk with Einstein, and the thing is, like, and theoretically, if you moonwalk with Einstein, you'll eventually have to use your brain and memory palaces to actually memorize the way back. So now let's talk about what memory palaces are. Now, memory palaces, they are basically your memories, like the memory of your childhood home, or the memory of your very first memory of somewhere, the memory of your school, like where in your school is what, and the memory of some other places that you built, like the memory of your Minecraft house, or the memory of your Roblox server, or memory of your favorite Roblox server, and other things that are kind of vivid for you and you can never ever forget, unless there's a memory gun that like and forget it. That reminds me of Gravity Falls. Oh yeah, that reminds me. The interior of the Mystery Shack too. Let's not get into that too much. That's kind of it. And so you can use this place to actually put in wild and wacky figures, like someone who you like in the first floor to represent something, and then you would put one of them famous movie stars up on your second floor or near your piano, if you have a piano, that is. That's so wacky and wild that you'll just put it there and remember it's like, wow! And you could like put in the Hulk on the driveway chasing a cat to memorize 9 cats! Cats have 9 lives! And you could put Firestar on the top of your roof yelling, ThunderClan, attack! Do you actually memorize one of these things like Nines of Clubs? Because there are like 8 warriors behind him. You can choose whatever warrior you want, but then again, I'm not sure how these warriors look like, except for Firestar. I can imagine them vividly. Let's just stop continuing about the conversation. Let's get on. And these are basically memory palaces, things where you can put in wild and wacky things to memorize it. And the memory itself, it's actually pretty much the most familiar thing you know. It could be your first memory, it could be your first childhood home, at least the first one you can remember, and it could be something you built. Now let's talk about memory mistakes. Now you can't overreach these. Some people sometimes mess up on memories because they start overreaching, saying, I can get at least 24 of these correct, but I'll try to get 30. And then they overreach and they mess up and then eventually get 23 correct instead. Joshua FOER decided that I can only do 24. Let's not overreach that. But he has to 100% memorize everything. He never flunked any one of those 24 words that he chose. And then he flunked the other ones. However, everyone else tried to memorize more than 24 and they all flunked it. And they kind of got it all wrong too. And now, let's talk about the conclusion. That's just one of the mistakes that's in my head. That's the only ones I memorize, and that's probably never gonna stick in my head anyway. So let's just continue with this. Now, in the conclusion, all I'm going to say is that the memory is an awesome thing. It's great, and it's nice. You can be an amateur like me, and you can somehow learn all these memory techniques a year after, and then you'll be able to go into the USA Memory Championships, and you might beat up adult. I mean, if I was like, 15 years old, and I got all these techniques written down, and I entered the championships, and I somehow managed to go to the finals, I'm like, wow, what if I win this? And then you win, then everyone else is like, you're just a kid. How did you win? Or did we just lose to a baby? If you're like a 9 or 80-year-old, then that makes sense. And now here are a few tips and tricks that I actually learned for myself. My favorite trick is to actually use the memory palettes, but in my other times, the one that I'm most used to is like repeating and then trying to replace them with some of my favorite characters or one of my own little original characters that I created. Or you can try these guys. Let me explain. Zombie, Skeleton, Steve, Alex, Ender Dragon, and Creeper. You could probably use that. I actually use it to memorize something too. Tactics, all that stuff. Also, I can never differentiate between this guy and Herobrine. Next time, I'll probably be doing a video on memory palaces. It's kind of interesting, and I'll even try using some myself. Not. So, what did you learn today? Please tell me in the comments below. And if you actually want to learn more like this, you can read the 2011 book, or you can go watch the 2012 TED Talk. See you guys soon. Now, peace! Do you want a cat? Yes. The cat is back, Lord Morning. That's why he named him Claude.